Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Glory. Today I am talking about Meghan Markle's recent interview with Oprah Winfrey, in which she shared some of the struggles and hard times that she went through with the royal family. She also shared some pretty shocking allegations against the royal family, especially allegations of racism. During her interview, she shared that her son, Archie, was not going to be given security and was not going to be given a title based on the fact that he was going to be a black baby. She also shared that there were conversations and concerns about how dark his skin would be when he is born. These are pretty serious allegations of racism, which could be very damaging to the royal family. However, from my opinion, there are always two sides to every story, and we do not know what the context of that conversation was, and we do not know who said it and what words were used exactly. So even though I sympathize with her and especially being a black woman, it's very hard to go through racism. It's very hard to know that you're being treated differently based on the color of your skin. However, I also know that not everything is based on race, okay? So, I mean, Princess Diana, for example, was also treated badly, you could say, but that she wasn't black, and that had nothing to do with the color of her skin. So, I try to stay away from blaming everything on racism, and although in her case it's hard to tell because again we don't have the details of the conversation, so it's kind of unfair and almost impossible to make a fair assessment of the situation of her statement without having the facts, without having the context, and without having the exact words that were used. Okay, so I don't think sharing this did her any good because it just brought more questions. Another thing that she shared in the video was the fact that she went through such a hard time that she felt like she did not want to leave anymore. She felt suicidal and she felt like she could hurt herself. And I really do sympathize with her on this. Mental health should be taken very seriously. And if anyone complains of having thoughts of suicide, I think they should be taken very seriously and provided the help that they need. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength for someone to come forward and request help for mental health. Being a healthcare provider, I have certainly seen firsthand patients and people die from suicide even after showing signs of depression or showing signs of being suicidal. So it's very important that people be taken seriously when they're going through such struggles. That being said, the allegation that she was never provided any help or any sort of mental health care services when she was going through this period is kind of hard to believe, and also kind of hard to prove, right? Because it's hard to believe that in the royal palace there was no doctor that she could have talked to. So my guess on this, and this is only a guess, I was never there and I don't know what happened, but my guess is probably that she wanted a specific doctor, or she may have wanted a specific healthcare institution that she wanted to go to. And then perhaps the royal family did not allow that because one, she would be exposed to the outside, and two, it might actually bring more tabloids against her, and that I imagine would make things more complicated for her. So my guess on this is that she was provided help in the palace, but she may have not wanted or trusted those mental health providers that she may have been presented with. And so again, it's hard to assess any of these claims and allegations when you're hearing just one side of the story. So again, I sympathize with her, and I do believe her that she most likely did go through depression and that she needed help. But however, what kind of help she needed, I'm not sure she got that kind of help. help that she needed. And this goes along with the other claim or allegation that she made, that she was never allowed to go out of the palace, say to go out with her friends, and that her passport and her keys were taken away from her the moment she got into the palace. And although for her, being an American actress, an American celebrity, where there's freedom of everything here, there's freedom of everything, literally, it must have been shocking for her to suddenly find herself in a situation where it wasn't a fairy tale that she may have imagined, that she would have everything at her beck and call. So then she found herself in a situation where there are many rules to be followed, and I don't think she was used to that. I don't think she foresaw that or anticipated that. And so I imagine that these rules are in place most likely for her own security and for the security of the members of the royal family. And also, I think it's just part of the monarchy, right? This is a community that is based on following rules, right? Following rules and fulfilling duties, right? So not so much on your personal goals and your personal ambitions. And so I think that she never expected that, and when she went through that, it was very shocking to her, and so she felt trapped, she felt imprisoned, and that goes again to the next point, which is I don't think she was prepared at all for this royal life. I don't think she knew what she was getting into, and she even says it herself in her interview with Oprah, where she says she never looked them up. She never looked up Harry to know who he was. She never looked up anything about the royal family. And so she kind of entered into this marriage blindly and naively, and quite frankly, many things that you would expect someone going into a new culture, into a new family to kind of know, she did not know those things. For instance, she mentions in the interview that no one took time to teach her the British national anthem, and that she had to learn it for herself. And also she, for instance, did not know how to curtsy before she met the Queen. So, I mean, once you start dating someone from a different culture, I think you should start from the very first time you start dating this person. You should start trying to know more about this person's family, trying to know what their culture is, trying to know basic things like how they greet, how they talk, what kinds of food they like. So these are things that you would expect your average girlfriend or wife to be, or any person in a relationship to try to know about their partner. But she had no idea what these things were. And she complained about no one taking time to teach her the hymns that were going to be sung at her wedding. So these are all things that go to show that she was very ill prepared for this. She did not know what she was getting herself into. And it turns out she probably wasn't meant to be in a sort of royal family. I don't think she's a bad person, and I don't think the British monarchy is necessarily a bad institution. I don't know them personally, but I think the main issue here is that both were not meant to be together. She was not meant to be in this sort of family. Now, if you were to give this opportunity to another woman, to another girl, she would worship it and literally go over and beyond to fit into that context. But in Meghan Markle's case, she was never going to fit in, and so everything sort of that happened to her was an issue. So whenever there was a difference of opinion and difference of treatment, she would view it immediately as racism. And so basically, I believe that she did suffer. She did go through a hard time in this family, but I think it was more so because she wasn't prepared for this. She didn't know what she was getting into, and probably she wasn't meant for this, to live this kind of a life. So whether or not the royal family is racist, I can't say, But just judging based on how they received her into the family, how welcoming they were to her initially, I would think that they're not racist. And recently, Prince Harry was responding to a reporter who asked him the question whether or not the royal family was racist, and he clearly said that they're very much not a racist family. So I do sympathize with both parties, and I hope that she's getting through this period successfully. The other question that comes up is about the timing of this interview, right? Because this is a time where the whole world is going through a pandemic. People are dying, people are losing their jobs, and people are suffering. And here you have a princess, literally a princess and her prince, complaining about how they were treated and how they were not being respected and how they were not being supported. So a lot of people, there's a lot of backlash as to how insensitive she was to release this interview at this time. But again, I understand other people who say that she has the right to share her truth. Another part of this is the fact that Queen Elizabeth's husband is currently in the hospital, and he just had heart surgery. And so there's also backlash as to why she didn't wait for him to kind of get better and for the royal family to go through this period before she threw this out there and give them more things to worry about. So again, overall, whether or not she should have made this interview in the first place is also a question. I don't think that this has helped them at all. From what I understand, they have been trying to live a more private life and to be out of the spotlight, but bringing this interview and making it so public for the entire world to see doesn't really help them to be more private. They have brought their news, they have brought the details of their private personal lives into the entire world. So everybody now knows what's going on with them. And really, it's never a good idea to wash your dirty laundry in public. Every family has struggles. Every family has secrets that, if brought to the light, will honestly be damaging. And I think that the beauty of family is to tolerate each other and to work through these difficulties in private without sharing them outside. Honestly, it does not bring respect to the person sharing. And just as you may have seen that both Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's popularities have significantly reduced after they shared these details. Even though she may have been treated unfairly or she may have gone through a hard time, the fact that she came and shared this so publicly and exposed everyone and embarrassed her family-in-law, it has not made her more favorable. People have less sympathy for her for that. So it's rather unfortunate that she had to come out publicly to share this. I don't think it helped her at all. I think it's probably brought on more depression to both her and Harry. Also, what are the consequences of sharing this? What would be the consequences down the line? I think that if she was intending to ever repair her relationship with her family-in-law, she should have never shared this publicly. Regardless of how painful it was, it would have been better to try to resolve this privately. Because now, is she ever going to go visit the royal family in Britain? I don't think so. I don't think she's even going to be safe visiting there, because now that she has no security from the royal family, it's going to be dangerous for her. And as far as Harry, it's going to be very hard for him to be cut off from his family that he's known his whole life. Even his brother, they used to have a very close bond, a very close relationship, and now he's almost not in talking terms with his brother. This is a very, very hard thing that he would have to go through. And I think, frankly, he probably made the right choice to follow Meghan, to America and to start a new life. But whether or not he's going to be able to follow through with that is a huge question, because being totally cut off from the land that he grew up in, from everything that he knows, from the military, from all the duties of the royal life that he's grown to love and to know, that for a man takes away his manhood and who he is. So I don't know how he's going to get through this. I hope that he gathers the strength to reconcile with his family. He has to reconcile with his family, with his brother especially, because it's just living in such a division can only go on for so long. So anyway, that's my take on this. I hope that they find peace, and I hope that they come to some kind of a resolution in this situation.